Welcome to the Investing in Real Estate show, everyone. I'm Clayton.
I'm Natalie.
And today we're going to be talking about filing your corporate documents for tax time if you have an LLC. Now, this is very important for real estate investors. It's something that crops up, 4 times a year?
No, annually.
Annually. Oh, it's annual.
Annual filing means once a year.
Did I say annual
Way
filing?
to catch up. Yeah.
Did I say okay. That happens once a year. Your annual filings happen once a year.
In most cases, we're going
Right.
to get to the difference, and we just want to tell you about it because if you've been watching this channel, we ask you to invest in your real estate inside some kind of corporate entity, right? An S Corp, an LLC, whatever it is you and your legal team have decided. Most of us own our real estate inside of an LLC, and that means you're running a business. So it's not as simple as just open the LLC, buy a property, collect the money, right? You have to behave as if you're a business owner because you are. And so your state where you own the LLC requires that you file annual filings.
So when I'm going to play the role of asking the questions about, I'll play the role of you, the viewer, asking the
Clayton
questions.
doesn't do these. I do them.
Yeah, I don't do these. We get into the weeds with this type of paperwork. I don't. So what time of year, when do we have to file these?
Okay, they vary state by state, but let's begin with what's the purpose?
Okay, what is the purpose? That's a great question. What is the purpose of a corporate filing?
A good question, Clayton.
Now, I have to admit, when I first started my first business many moons ago, and I made no revenue. I think I started it like 15, 20 years ago. And I think I had a little, under the amount that I even had to pay taxes on it. Mm-hmm. I remember someone saying, "Hey, did you file your annual filings?" I was like, "No, I didn't."
And if you don't, right, the state's going to come around and say, "Where is it?" You could get in trouble with that. So the purpose of the annual filing is to tell your state what's going on with your business since you created it. So when you created the LLC, you told the state, these are the members of the LLC, these are the shares, what they're worth, these are where the members live, these are the members' social security numbers, so that the state knows who owns this entity, whose taxes these are being reported on, right? It can sort of match person to company. Strike that, reverse it. And so it's company to person, right? Mm-hmm. So it needs this information, and then it needs it updated every year, because what if I, remove myself from a company and then something happens with the company and the state's not going to know that? Well, the annual reports are like, who's who, who's still who, who's new, what's going on, that kind of thing. It's not complicated. It doesn't have to be a dissertation. It just has to follow certain rules.
Now, one of the things that Tom Wheelwright, our brilliant tax accountant, has often said is you're making sure that you're having board meetings. You're having meetings for your company on a regular basis so that you are an active company. Do we have to then submit like meeting minutes and things like that to the state to show that, yes, we are having actual meetings, that we are actually running our business?
It depends. Each state has its own requirement. At a minimum, you're saying these are the officers, these are the shares that we either issued or sold or anything like that. At a minimum, it's just a report of who's who, what business are we doing where, that kind of thing. Some states require more, some states require less. Now let's get back to your first question, is when do we do it? And again, the answer is depends on your state. So in some states, you have to do it on the anniversary of your company. So you started it January 1st, you're going to do the next one next year, January 1st. Some states require you to do it on a specific day of the year, like tax day. I don't think any of them are tax day. I think that would just be too cruel to have you make you do that.
They're so busy already, like they need this on top
Right.
of that, on top of tax filings.
And then some states let you do biannual, so you do every other year. So really it depends. There is no hard and fast rule, but you need to know them. If you've decided, hey, I qualify to do business in Wisconsin, well then it's your responsibility to know the rules of doing business in Wisconsin and comply.
Okay. All right. So you have to do these every year. You have to just basically update who's in your company, who's still operating, who's still there. Do we have to also divulge like profits and other things like that?
In most cases, no. Because you report that income to the state, they already know that on your tax return. Most of them do not require any kind of financial statement. They may require some kind of meetings, If they come back and ask you for meeting notes, you should have something like that. It's good to keep records of shareholder meetings. But for the most part, there are even some states we do business in where it says, hey, we'd like your annual report. And I go through and I click a couple of boxes like, are these people still this? You're still doing this? Is this still good? If not, who? And you submit it and you sign it, and that's it. Like, it's as easy as a web interface.
So that's what I was going to ask you. Do they mail these to you? You receive a reminder in the mail, or is this something that you have to sort of set a reminder for yourself to do? Where do you get this information?
Well, you should have a reminder for yourself to do it based on your state's requirements. That's a good thing to do. The way we do it in most cases is we have our lawyers handle it, and it's the same lawyers that set up our entities. Now, why do that if it's as simple as I'm making it sound? Well, sometimes it is and sometimes it's not, number one. Number two, we get a discount because we bulk them up because we have a lot of LLCs, and I don't want to do it wrong. And number three, it's just they have figured out a way to simplify them so they can do them all at once. It's one taxable expense, and I like having it done. Now, that's not to say that a new LLC owner couldn't do this on their own. Certainly you can, with a little bit of research on, like, what I would do to start is Google, like, what are the annual filing requirements in Wisconsin? And then find some, something that you feel pretty comfortable is a credible source and follow that. But I would, for the first at least year, ask somebody to look it over, either your tax accountant or your lawyer, just to make sure.
Yeah. So again, because we have many properties in multiple states around the country, it would be a pain in the butt to try to put all this together and to do all this at different times. So are they doing all of these simultaneously for us, or are lawyers doing them at staggered times throughout the year?
They have a schedule based on which ones are due when, and they will remind me because they want this fee, right? It's simple for them. It's just to, like, boom, 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 change this document.
How much are we paying them?
They usually charge, I think, $100 per annual filing, and then we get a discount because of the bulk of them, and I can't remember off the top of my head. A lot of times, some of these legal services that we refer you to, such as Corporate Direct, they'll set up your LLC for a small fee, and then if you say, can you do the annual filings too, they may give you some kind of discount because you're going to become repeat business. So ask before you get started, or if you have already gone through them, call them up and say, what are your fees for annual filings, because you don't want to miss it. Why don't you want to miss out on doing those? Because they're so fun?
Well, you don't want to miss out on doing that because you could be penalized by the state.
Yes.
They'll send you a nice big fat bill.
Yes.
What are the penalties on these? And what is it based on?
Thankfully, I don't know.
We've never missed one, so we don't know what the
penalties
are.
Yeah, I actually don't know.
I mean, in the same way that it would be that you don't file your taxes, you'll get hit with a massive penalty.
Right.
I don't know that it's a massive penalty, but I'm sure it's not pleasant.
But also, I will say that when we first started LLCs, we would get, I would see these, you have to file your annual filings, and I thought, yeah, I filed my tax returns. Well, this is not the same thing. So Don't be a dummy like Natali. You have to know that they're different, and you have to be ready for either or.
So be prepared on this. We'll have a link below to Corporate Direct. It's morrisinvest.com/LLC, which will just take you right to their website. I believe you get like $100 savings if you set up an LLC with them. They're great. It's Garrett Sutton who runs Corporate Direct. He is Robert Kiyosaki's lawyer. So they've done a great job setting up just hundreds of LLCs for our clients. So ask them about this, but also get that discount if you do sign up. Okay. So getting all of this in order, is there anything else we have to file with the state per year, or is it just one annual filing and that's it?
Well, you're filing your taxes separately, so the state knows what your revenue is.
And this is a great question. So many people ask us, we'll get emails and comments in our YouTube channel, podcasts, everywhere, wanting to know, hey, do I have to pay taxes? Like, I live in California, I bought a property in Texas, do I have to file my taxes in Texas? Because I set up an LLC in Texas.
If the income is in Texas, you will need to file where the income is made. Yes, absolutely, that's the case. And the state doesn't want junk LLCs, for lack of a better term. Like, they don't want people creating LLCs that are not legitimate businesses. They're onto you for using an LLC as some kind of tax shelter, right? We're teaching you to be a legitimate business person, business family, if that's a
Right.
term.
Running your expenses through your business.
Right. And so, but they don't want you gaming the system. So if you've got a defunct LLC, one that's not really doing business, not filing any, taxable income, or especially if you're filing a loss every single year for like 15 years, they're going to be like, what is this? This is a tax shelter, right? And so they're going to want to see, like, have you filed the annual filings? Have you been legitimately doing business, right? You want to be legitimately doing business. Yes, the LLC is an amazing tax shelter because you should be making money inside of it.
I think the government, and forgive me for not having the exact numbers on this, but I believe it's 5 years the IRS allows your business to not make money, to not be profitable. Because the rule is that most businesses that start out are not profitable for 5 years. So I think the IRS allows a 5-year loss window. So if you're in your 6th year and you're still filing a loss, the IRS is going to come knocking and wonder what the heck is going on here. 7th year, there's a big problem. So you've got to make sure that you're at least turning a profit at some point. After 5 years, why are you still in business?
Or be able to defend the loss, right? So if you have been losing money every year, but it is for some legitimate type of reason and you still can stay in business, and you say to the IRS, yes, I am still doing business, but I'm still losing money and here's why, that's fine. The worst case scenario is you haven't been filing your annual reports, you have not made any money, and they say, well, then you never really were an LLC since this year, and they go back and try and penalize the income that you filtered through there on your personal income. That would be really bad, right? So what we want you to do is do it right.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's all. So that's how you handle the corporate taxes, the annual corporate tax filing. If you have any questions, let us know. Drop us a question in the comments below. We want you to go out there and take action and become a real estate investor, everyone, because we believe it's the #1 way to build wealth, even if you have to do some of this headache paperwork every year.
It's just paperwork.
But I let her do it. So
I let the lawyers do it.
So it's great. We'll see you next time, everyone.